Welcome back to AskAPop. It's time for an opportunity to excel. One of the many hats that I get to wear during the month is monthly reports. I've been doing them for almost a decade now, and it's always on the first business day of the month. And with the exception of a few times where my backup's done them, kind of just to stay current, be able to know how to do them if I ever have to go away. It means logging on before I normally do, which my normal log on time is about 4 o'clock. So on monthly report day, I started about 2 o'clock in the morning. And knowing it's also billing day, that means, that's another task of mine. It also means I'm lucky enough, if I'm real lucky, I'll get to put that hamster to sleep in my laptop around 7 o'clock at night. Now, I'm not telling you this story to make you feel sorry for me or to complain, but I'm telling it to you because it reminds me of an old boss I had about a quarter of a century ago when I first started with the company that I work with. He had leaned back in his chair when he called us into his office and say, "I have an opportunity for you to excel." And by the time we left his office, we'd all be laughing with each other because usually when he'd start a sentence or a meeting like that, that would mean that we had a whole lot more work coming down the pike. Now, quarter of a century later, I look at that a little bit differently. And of course, when you get a little bit older, you always look at things a little differently. And now I look at things a little more like my papa did. That's my other grandfather. He owned a bread route, and he'd be on his bread truck. And no matter how sick he was, or no matter how bad he felt, every time he'd go into the store, you'd never be able to tell it. He always had the same disposition. And I asked him one time why. No matter how sick he was, he always would be the same guy in the store. And he always told me, he said, "Buddy, they don't expect to see a sick bread guy. They expect to see the best bread guy in the business." Because that was his opportunity to excel. And I get it. You only get one chance to make a first impression, but you get a million chances to ruin that impression. So, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, whether you're a teacher, a mentor, an employee, a bread truck owner, people are watching. So you've always got an opportunity to excel. Speaking of which, I guess it's time to query my query to see if my queries are queried. The Bible verse today is Proverbs 16. And as far as questions, when you look at tasks, chores, work, have you ever thought about changing it instead of saying have to get to? God bless.